Alright guys, quick little video on how to test your vehicle for a leaking head gasket. So basically what you're gonna need is this tool right here. It's a gas engine combustion leak tester, and you can get this tools at your auto parts store. I actually rented this one. I think it was like 28 bucks. You go over there. I showed you guys before my previous video how to rent tools from AutoZone basically for free. You go, you rent it, and when you go back, you return it and they give you your money back. So basically all this is a tool that's gonna suck air. You basically fill it up to this line right here with that liquid right there. That right there. Does it say it on there? Yeah, it's got all like instructions and stuff like that. You're gonna fill it up to this line, and then you're gonna test your vehicle for a head gasket leak. The reason why I'm testing, I actually got two vehicles that I suspect have bad head gaskets. You guys remember on one of my other previous videos, we replaced the head gasket on this car, and I'm thinking maybe I didn't do it right, or I'm not sure, because I feel like it has a leak. And the reason why I think it has a leak is because my oil, whenever I went to change it, look at all that milky stuff. So that's why I'm thinking I have a blown head gasket. So automatically you see this and you assume you have a head gasket leak because you know the milkshake color or whatever. But I'm not 100% sure it's a head gasket, because this smells like fuel to me. It smells like a whole bunch of fuel, like if my injectors stayed open somehow, like they got clogged up and they stayed open and they just leaked a whole bunch of fuel into my engine. I actually already tested my injectors for leaks and they don't seem to be leaking. So I'm not sure if maybe a spark plug is not firing, and that's why I just dumping a whole bunch of fuel, because it only happens when I go full throttle, like wide open throttle. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and start by testing the head gasket to make sure that that's good, and then I'm gonna do a compression test and test my piston rings to see if they're good, because I'm not sure what's going on, honestly. Now the truck, the reason why I think that one has a blown head gasket is because it actually overheated on me this past winter. One of my hoses popped off and the truck overheated, and ever since it did that, I noticed I have a whole bunch of pressure on my coolant lines. Like whenever the truck is running, I have a whole bunch of pressure. I can't even press them down. They're almost like swollen out. So I'm not sure if it's letting like a whole bunch of combustion pressure into the coolant system, and that's what's going on, if my head gasket's bad, or it could be just like a bad overflow cap, which I'm thinking that's what it is. I actually borrowed this one from my brother, and when I put it on here, it didn't seem as bad. Like the pressure wasn't as bad. I can actually collapse it. So I'm not sure. It could be something as simple as a bad overflow cap or radiator cap, because basically these have release valves and they're supposed to release pressure at a certain pressure. Like this one is rated, I don't know if I can see it, I think it's rated, let's see, 15 psi, surge tank 15 psi. After that psi is reached, from my understanding, the valve opens and it lets pressure out. So I'm not sure if I just had a stuck one or if it's a head gasket. Fingers crossed that it's just a radiator cap, easy fix. Fingers crossed that this head gasket is not bad, because that would mean I would have to tear it all apart again and redo it. It was my first time doing a head gasket, so the possibility that I did it incorrectly is very possible. Like I said, I already checked my injectors. They're not leaking, so I'm not sure what the heck is going on. I do lose coolant, but I also have a leak, and the leak is coming from like the back of the engine. I don't know if it's coming from the steam port, or maybe the head is not sealing. I don't know, I have to check it out. But for now, this episode, basically we're just going to be testing for bad head gaskets. So what you want to do, you want to go ahead and start your vehicles, let them get to operating temperature. Once they do that, go ahead and I'll show you guys how to do the test. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right guys, so I got the cars on, and basically once they reach operating temperature, like this one's about to reach it. On F-bodies and GMs, operating temperature is around 190 to 200 degrees. So it's just about reaching operating temperature. You want to make sure that You don't have any coolant. You don't want any coolant making contact with the tester. And basically all you do is just gonna put it right in your radiator. Make sure it's making a seal. And when you do that, see, look, I'm already getting bubbles. So this car might have a blown head gasket. It's a very possibility. See all those bubbles? See how I have my fluid up to the fuel line? It's blue. If it changes yellow, that means that this car has a blown head gasket. So basically what you do, you're just gonna squeeze this a couple times. Get some fluid in here. Like that. And you're gonna see if this fluid turns yellow. So we're just gonna do this a couple times. And see if we have a blown head gasket on this motor. So far it's not changing colors, so far we're off to a good start. I was a little worried when I saw the bubbles, but as long as it doesn't change colors, we're fine. Guys, I think we actually might be fine. Not changing colors. Like I said, you see that color on your oil and automatically you think it's like a bad head gasket. Well, so far we're good. Let me show you guys the operating temperature here. So you guys can see the car is up to operating temperature. Around 200, right in the middle. And it's not changing colors. Staying blue. So that's a very good sign that we might not have a blown head gasket. Thank God, because I didn't feel like tearing this motor apart. So it has to be something with the injectors, maybe the tune, maybe one of my spark plugs isn't firing. I definitely have to dig deeper on this car. This is an indication of a good head gasket. It's not changing color, it's staying blue. So I'm gonna call that a win. Staying blue. Well, dang, that's crazy. I almost was 100% sure that this car had a blown head gasket. You guys saw the color of my oil, but like I stated before, it doesn't smell like coolant. It smells like fuel, like just a whole bunch of fuel. So I'm not sure if it's in the tune, because this tune does need to get redone. It only has a mail order tune. Or maybe one of my spark plugs isn't firing. I'm not sure, guys. But as far as the head gasket, I think we're fine. I'm gonna do one more. Weird. Okay. This engine seems to be good. Let's go ahead and move on to the truck. Okay, guys, now we're moving on to the truck. We're gonna see if this one has a bad head gasket. So far it's blue. The truck is obviously reached operating temperature. Has been on the same amount of time as the Camaro has been on. So we're just gonna wait and see if this turns yellow, which fingers crossed that it doesn't. It is getting a whole bunch of bubbles though. Those bubbles worry me, almost like if there's air in the system or something. Yellow, which hopefully it does not. Do it a couple times. guys. Thankfully, as long as it doesn't go yellow, head gasket is good in this little 4.8. And I'm hoping it is. Whenever I changed out my radiator, my water pump, my thermostat, my overflow tank, basically the whole cooling system on this was redone. I started developing these problems where my hoses had a whole bunch of pressure. So I'm hoping that it was a bad overflow cap. Like I said, sometimes these caps, the valves, you see the valves right there, they actually get stuck and they don't let any pressure out. So I'm hoping that's what it is, because whenever I left my cap kind of like open, my pressure wasn't that bad on my hoses. I didn't actually have no pressure whatsoever. I could squeeze it like this. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I still see it pretty blue. I don't see it changing any color. I don't know, guys. It feels like it's actually getting darker, like dark blue. But it's not turning yellow. Sure. So I'm gonna call that a win, guys. It's not turning yellow or anything like that. It's getting dark blue, like darker, but it doesn't seem to be turning yellow. So I'm gonna call that a win, guys. And this is basically just a quick little video on how to test for a bad head gasket. So let me go ahead and shut off the vehicle. Turn it off here. Okay. Vehicle's turned off. Let me see if I can remove this without getting scorched. Oh. Don't fall. Don't get burned. I gotta return you. There you go. See in there. It's coolant. So it kind of got a little darker. I'm not sure if that means I have a bad head gasket. Might retest it, but honestly, I think I'm good, guys. So basically, before you go dumping money into your car thinking that it's a bad head gasket, because there's a lot of symptoms that you can think, oh man, I have a bad head gasket. It's a bad head gasket, like the oil being milky or the pressure on the lines, or etc. You want to make sure you test your vehicle first, and this is going to tell you if you do have a bad head gasket. You can rent this tool at an auto parts store, like I said. Super cheap. You can either keep it and not return it. It's like 28 bucks, or you can go ahead and return it and get your money back, which is probably what I'm gonna do. And yeah, man, super easy test to do. Well worth it before you put any money into your vehicle. And yeah, man, this basically told me that both of these engines are good, so that's awesome. Links are gonna be up for my previous videos whenever I did a head gasket on this car, whenever I replaced the cooling system on that truck, and how to rent tools basically for free from AutoZone. And yeah, man, yes sir, I'm super stoked.